Hello, everyone. Hope we do find you well. We are back with yet another show where we bring interesting things from all over the world. So today in the studio we've got an interesting voice. He's a man that when I grow up I want to be like him. He's an amazing individual. Like just like all the other people we bring, they're amazing. But this one you have to hear it for yourself. Uh, He's called Coach James, and today we are with him in the studio, and he's gonna be giving us nuggets. I mean nuggets. So please chill, relax, sit back and relax and enjoy. Coach James, welcome.
Greetings, Coach. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's an honor, and we're excited to have you to have giants like you, on this show. So, Coach, please do tell us about you. Who is Coach James?
Okay, Coach James is a certified master coach
Okay.
and a business trainer. I'm an ILO certified trainer. I can train in any country where there's the United Nations, and also a business person who runs an entity called Coach James Incorporated. In a nutshell, Coach James is a human capital developer.
Interesting. Human capital development. I like that. I like that. Tell us more. You spoke about ILO and UN. Please tell us more about it.
Yeah, I'm trained to train business people. As you know, I'm a business coach. I'm a certified coach, but I specialize in business coaching. So my interest for business coaching led me to train in the International Labour Organization, generate your business idea, start your business idea, and improve your business, and also the expand your business programs. Around those programs, I then discovered that it was in line with my passion, which is coaching. So I still use coaching, but this time around using businesses. So ILO, as you know, ILO is a global organization. So we are then allowed to train in those nations where the United Nations is a foothold.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. And so tell me something interesting. You're a business coach. What is business?
Okay, that's interesting. I usually love to give people a very simple definition. To me, business is something that you engage in which brings profit to you. So
Okay.
yeah, that's basically what you can then tell what business is. And some will then go deep to try and explain. But at the end of the day, when you're in business, you are there to make money. So business is a venture that you're doing that is generating money. It then can become a business when you then realize that there are processes and systems that are then put in place. So that's when you have a distinction of someone who's doing just selling something and someone who's running a business. A business is then a system that has been put in place to generate income for the current, even future generations.
Interesting. I like
Yes,
how you then expanded to say someone is selling and
yes,
there's a business.
yes,
So I'm thinking the majority of people around, for example, here in Zimbabwe, we are hustling. Should we
yes.
term that as business or we're just selling?
Yeah, that there is a differentiation that people must put, but first you must understand that why is someone doing that? If the intention is profit, the person is inclined towards business. But then the difference between a hustlepreneur or a hustler and a business person is that a business person is looking at profit, looking at generating income or profit that they then be used to build the business. A business is like a living organism, it must grow like a human being. When you hustle this year, next year you're hustling, you're always hustling and doing a hustle. At the end of the day, you're making money to survive, not to run a business. Because at the end of the day, a business is a starting point and there's a point of maturity then before it dies and everything else. But most people they then treat hustling as business. Anyone can sell anything, but selling something doesn't mean you're in business. Are you selling something profitably? Is that thing that you're selling helping someone else? Because a business person also must look at meeting the needs of other people and fulfilling those needs. So that's why you see even people who then turn businesses into enterprises, what has commonly become known as entrepreneurs. These people, what they simply then do is they solve problems in exchange for money.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So you spoke about someone who is just selling something. Now you're talking about business. Now you're talking about enterprising.
Mm.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm still processing it. I'm still processing it. So please do give me time to process this.
Uh,
So what made you to venture into business?
all right. For me, it's something that is, I can say, was inborn.
Okay.
Growing up, we grew up in rural Mtasa, where our parents, my background were teachers, but then they then were farmers as well. So everything they produced on our farmland, which is our subsistence farm, which is our local village homestead, they would sell tomatoes, would go to the other villages, would go to the mission school to sell. So I learned to sell from tomatoes and everything else, and I saw how my parents would then make profit out of it, to an extent that my father, when then he would buy some bulls, you'd buy a bull as a small calf. Then when it becomes he uses it for some period, for some years, then he sells it for and buys another one and uses the profit for other ventures. Yeah. Then unfortunately, he never, this is the funny part about it, he never managed to register a company. But he was running a company, he ended up running a construction company. So I would see the mistakes, the needs that were there. Then I was fascinated as I grew up as well. When we were growing up, learning about business. One example that set me to say I want to do something was the Cisco Steel. When we
Okay.
were learning about the process, how iron was made from the blast furnace and the whole process, I then got fascinated. I said, one day I'll own my own business. But then because I grew up, like I said, Kumusha, in the rural areas, then the focus was then to say, get a degree, learn, get a degree, get a professional job, because business is for those with money. But when I then got to encounter business, when I then started working for a private entity, I then realized that business was meant for people with ideas. And
Okay.
because I'm always full of ideas, some of the ideas I give people, because you generate ideas every time where you are. So that's how I then got into business. Yeah, but then and then when I then got full time into business, I then encountered friends in business and stories of people like Nigel Chanakira, Strive Masiwa, Philip Chiangwa, later on Divine Jukula. These are local business people who then inspired me to then want to do more. And one of my mentors, Milton Kamwendo, who turned his speaking gift into a business. So basically, I can say that's what inspired me to do so.
Okay. So when you were talking earlier on, you were talking about system.
Yes.
How can I then turn my idea or ideas into a system which is not just
Great.
only selling but making profit out of it?
Great. The first thing is to realize that in business, there are principles.
Okay.
For business to succeed, there are principles.
All right.
Like just the principle of seed sowing. When you sow a seed into the soil, you water it, you take care of it until it germinates, it starts growing. So business has the same variable where in business you need to know that you need to start with, yes, you start as an individual, but you need to realize that alone you cannot go. You cannot do it. That's the first step. And proper businesses are guided by and enabled by systems like registration processes. We're now talking of registering your business, not your idea. You need to register your idea. You need to patent your idea. You need to protect your idea. You need to have even other people who buy into the idea. People don't buy into something they just hear. They buy into something that is written down. So you then write a business plan, which is part of a system. When you're now planning for your business, you're now planning for the business to set up to grow the business. So even the growth strategy as a system to grow the business. So you put systems as you go, as the business goes. But what's important is to realize that systems, they enable the success of a business.
Okay.
Yes, most businesses have failed because of lack of systems. We have great businesses that faltered because there were no proper systems. I think you were born when there was you were already born. I think even in your youth, when we had businesses like Afro Foods,
Yes,
the
yes,
Afro
yes.
Food supermarkets. What happened to the Afro Food supermarket? Then more than 65 branches at one time nationally, but today they are nowhere to be seen. Why?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a proper
System.
system
Okay.
which helped them to do controls and measures. Where you're looking at how do you control? Yes, money is coming in, but are you putting in a system to make sure the money that is coming in is invested in the business? Are you putting enough system to make sure that you don't just open branches? Don't just open a branch just because there's space. You open a branch because there's need,
Okay.
because there are customers, and because there are needs that you are addressing as well.
Okay. I remember growing up, there used to
Yes.
be a popular saying, "Ekuti, kufakwe mujoni,
Kamba
company
naivale.
aifare."
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's always this thing that moves around in business cycles that says, "Anzi, umseamwa."
Yes.
You operate like umseamwa, you know.
Yes.
So now that you're talking about systems, and I'm linking these two phrases or statements
Yes.
that people usually say that you need to have a system.
Yes.
And I also want to add that not just a system, but a working system,
Yeah, exactly. That's
so
true.
that the business keeps on running.
Yes.
So that if panofa
Journey.
journey, you know, there's continuity.
Yes.
You spoke about registering your idea.
Yes.
After registration, you talked about patent.
Yes.
Tell us more about how to patent. Why should I even patent? Why should we even have it in place?
Okay. Right. Let me give an example of a patent that I was involved with, ZLG.
Okay.
Yeah, when you have a great idea, someone will see the idea and say, wow, this is a money maker. Once they say this is a money maker, they may try to do this exactly the same thing. Okay. So now you're saying you want to patent the idea so that you protect the idea from potential. Remember, in business, there's competition.
Oh, yeah.
There are also people who are trying to do hustlepreneurs. Hustlepreneurs, they're just there to hustle with anything that comes their way.
Okay.
That's why you see that there is a Nike brand, then there's a Nika or Nike, which is they're trying to put in to use. They cannot use that tick, same tick with Nike, because if they use that, it's a serious lawsuit. Mm-hmm. So that's also making sure you tie your money, your idea, in a way that you protect it. You're protecting. You're saying this idea is worth $1 billion United States dollars. So you patent it, you register it, you put it in ARA. That ARA becomes a registered trade name.
Okay.
If it's a product, if it's a name, a brand like Coach James Incorporated. Coach James is a brand.
All right.
Which came out as a result of realizing that, wow, people are saying this man can give value, but this man may die. If this man dies, the system must give value. So how do I allow the system to give value? Let me give birth to Coach James Incorporated, which is now a trade name, a trademark. So this trademark, someone can just claim and say, this is mine. So I would need to then protect it. So you're more of protecting your idea, you're protecting your formula. Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola formula. It's not that someone has not identified what are the ingredients, but they cannot produce a similar drink like Coca-Cola because they will be arrested for that. They will lose millions of money. So patenting then in Africa, particularly in Zimbabwe, understanding of trademarks and patenting is a process. I think it's a topic that would need, I think we'll get into series and disclose on how exactly you patent. But what's at this point in time, what's important is to then say, protect your idea.
Okay.
So you protect your idea. Also, when you give a value of a company, when you then say this company is worth $5,000, someone is asking why $5,000? These are just papers. But you say no, this registered trademark is the one which is worth $5,000. So I can use that to raise equity and everything else as well. And also that shows seriousness and that you're proud of your brand, your product, and everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, because you also like, let me use this example from a human being. A human being has a unique fingerprint. That's a special recognition. So your brand is your special recognition. Your idea is your special recognition. When you talk of electricity, you link it to who's this guy, Isaac Newton.
Yes.
But he's not the first person who started it, but it's linked to because his name is associated with electricity.
Wow.
The light bulb in particular. You talk of when you talk of coaching, when you say coach, before you finish, someone say Coach Marvin, Coach James. Why are they associating your name, attaching your name to the particular product? Is because there is now an identity. So once people identify with you, you want to give them value and give value to your identity, so that your identity becomes a fingerprint. So it's more of your fingerprint that you're saying, I'm making sure my fingerprint is protected. So it's more of protecting, but also more of what can I say? Enhancing,
adding value.
Okay. Your value addition. So that when you give a value proposition, when someone says, why should I get Coach James to consult for us at the extent of other coaches? Say, okay, Coach James has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Coach James is a registered trademark in Zimbabwe. So that means that we're not running away. If you give us money, remember, especially in our field in consultants, you're paid before you execute.
Yes.
So you're saying, I have enough credibility, which is associated with my brand, that even if you lose your $1,000, you can even sell this brand and get 5,000 more from this brand. So you are sort of endorsing yourself using that.
Interesting. So the whole point of patterning something is so that it increases value, and it gives you more than what is currently there.
Yes, and protecting yourself from intruders, because someone is eyeing what you're having. If I had the means to have a Coach Malvin or Mal Divine Consultants, if I had the means, I would do it in a flick of a second. But I can't do it, because if I try to do that, I'm bracing up for a lawsuit that I may not be able to. Yes.
Interesting. I like what you're explaining and explorating it. It's really making sense bit by bit. But I really also want to find out, at what point in my business should I start registering, or should I focus on the patterning issue?
Okay, right. Let me say this. Business, there's the business stages that the business goes through. The first stage is idea generation. You are thinking of your ideas. As you think of your ideas, you're brainstorming. Once you brainstorm, you say, this is the right idea. You introduce the business. As you introduce the business, some introduce the business, they're already at introduction, at brainstorming level. They may brainstorm and say, I think the nice name is to use this name. So they go on to register the name. So registration of a company is different from patenting. When you're registering a company, you're saying you're making the government to recognize that there is a new business that has come on board. That new business that has come on board, he wants to meet the legal requirements, because registering of a company is the legal requirements that you then have. That's why you find that the government of Zimbabwe has then distinguished and said there is what is called a private business corporation.
Yes.
So this is where, for our Mseanwa one-man band people, or people who want to, it's a low cost, you have low money, you have less money and everything else. Then for people who want to enjoy limited liability, you're now saying a private limited company. Then the others go for public limited, where they are calling people everywhere to say, come join us. Then some go for a partnership. I'm saying, Coach Marvin, I need this brilliant idea. Come on board. Let's partner in this idea. So they go for a partnership. So these are the types of, basically the key types of companies that are there. But within these companies, now we're saying, for you to then remember when you're coming with your idea, saying, what's the best method that suits my idea? If you want to start a law firm, law firms by nature, by legal registration and everything else, you don't go alone. We spread the risk. So you must have a partner. So you see that it becomes a Marvin and James and associates.
Associates. All
For
right.
example.
Okay.
Why? Because we are bringing the resources together. We're pulling
Okay.
the resources together along the lines of the risk that is there. You see. So once you understand, because we're saying as you're brainstorming, you're understanding your business, what your business will require. Now saying the legal position that you choose, you are looking at the future, where you
Alright.
want to go. I always tell people, start with the end in mind. What is the end game? Why are you getting into business? I got into business because I saw the next 100 years.
Okay.
So I'm looking at a legacy. If you look at my tagline, is building lasting positive legacies. So I want to build a legacy like Roger Boga. I want to build a legacy like
the Ivins family.
Yes, Ivan Peters and the family, like Thomas Mikos. We still have Thomas Mikos Hotel up to today. We still have Thomas Mikos supermarkets, which you commonly know TM.
TM.
So we're talking of a business that was established in 18th something century, or 19th something century, but now relevant in 2021.
Interesting.
2023. Why? Because somebody has realized that they want to build a legacy. How do you build a legacy? You put a base. The registration of the company becomes a base.
Okay.
So once you build a base, you have established that base, you then choose the right method to register the company. Once you've registered the company, you then set a growth strategy. This is where most people then miss it. Why most people end up being Vanamuseano. Once you're in business, you're already existing.
Okay.
You introduce the business to the market. People know there is someone who they hear, they know, you tell them. But once you tell them, they start buying from you. They start transacting with you. But the money is not enough. So you begin to survive.
Okay.
As you survive, you want to ensure you grow the business. So you must move from survival to success.
Okay.
So sorry, from existence to survival. So you exist first, you are there, they're talking about you. Then you
go to survive.
You survive.
Okay.
The money is enough to take care of you and your family, and your basic needs. But it's not enough for you to enjoy the economies, to enjoy the other things that you need to enjoy. Most people, most businesses, they die at survival.
All right.
They are not worried because they don't have a strategy. But once you have a strategy, say, okay, I have existed, I'm surviving, I must succeed. Take it up.
Okay.
I must succeed. So how do I succeed? You then put in methods that ensure you succeed, including knowing that you need other people to work with. You need a whole varied reasons that you have. Once you succeed, you then mature. Okay. Each business that succeeds must mature.
Interesting.
So most businesses are prematures because they didn't have a succeeding plan. They also didn't have a maturity plan. When you mature, the business is good at success level. Actually, when you succeed at success level, the business has outgrown the owner.
All right.
So you rarely hear about the business. If I ask you today, who's the owner of Securico? If you don't know about Madame Divine Dukula, you say, I don't know.
Right.
People talk of Econet. When was the last time Strive Masio was in Econet, Zimbabwe? Why? The business has matured.
Okay.
It's now taking care of itself. It can acquire assets. It can do a lot of things. It can even go into other countries. It can expand. It can do whatever it then does.
Interesting.
So once a business gets to maturity, if you are not careful at maturity, the business dies there.
Okay. So there's another level after maturity.
When the business mature, it's either it declines or it diversifies.
Okay.
Insco buys 40% of Ivins. Insco buys Lake Harvest. Insco buys Simbisa Brands, Chicken Inn and the like. Starts a football club. Buys property, starts a real estate. Starts Inbox, a bank. Why is Insco doing that? They are diversifying so that they consolidate the financial gains that they've gotten. Failure to do so, the business will decline. When the business continues to decline, it dies. We have a lot of businesses that got to maturity and they died. Nyore Nyore Zimbabwe Furnitures. It was the furniture shop.
Yes.
But what happened to Nyore Nyore? It died at maturity.
All right.
It's not the only business. It's just an example that I've given you. We had a business that even died before maturity, according to me.
Okay.
Jazz and Men. Jazz in supermarkets.
Oh yeah.
Jazz was succeeding. It was successful. It was doing well. But what happened to Jazz?
Just collapsed.
I talked to you about Afro Foods. Afro Foods, when it got to success, they didn't have a maturity plan. They didn't know what to do. They should have consolidated and started buying properties, so that the properties they would have bought, they use the properties for their supermarkets. If business doesn't work well, they can change it into a clothing shop. But you can't do that from a rented place. Yes.
Sure, this is a lot to take in one day, but it's really making me think and cracking. I'm thinking, which level am I with my business? And it's quite interesting.
Yes.
It's quite interesting. But you look here locally.
Yes.
We say, some may say it's extreme sports. Some
Yes.
may say, I like to use the term turbulence, because it's not a
Yes.
stable environment to
Yes.
actually run a successful business. Others are doing it,
Yes.
but some are failing. What is your advice or your recommendations to business people who are having businesses run day in, day out, for them to survive in extreme sports environment or turbulence times here in Zimbabwe?
Yes. Thank you so much. I'll answer you by asking you a question, which is very simple.
Okay.
I don't want you to answer it. I want you to process.
Okay.
Zimbabwe is called a high volatile and changing environment, right?
Yeah.
But why are the Chinese flocking to Zimbabwe? Why are the Belarus people flocking to Zimbabwe? Why are the whites flocking to Zimbabwe? The Nigerians. Everyone is running to Zimbabwe for business.
Right.
Yet Zimbabweans are running from Zimbabwe
Going out
for work.
Interesting.
What does that mean to you? It means that the people in Zimbabwe, business person in Zimbabwe, must understand and look and say, why is it the Chinese flying all those miles, coming here to do business and making it work? It's the issue of strategy.
Okay.
Understanding your strategy, understanding the market, that where there is problems, you make money. Most business people, they fail to make it because they are trying to sell a product. People don't buy products, they buy solutions.
Right.
Coca-Cola solves the thirsty solution. Quench. They tell me that they solve. You know, when I feel frustrated and everything else, I take a sip of Coca-Cola. What does Coca-Cola do? It does the magic. It does the magic. It does the magic. They don't sell to me that this drink has a health implications or anything else. They sell me an experience.
Interesting.
Pokugara housing, they are not selling property stands. If you look at their prices, a stand is costing 45,000. It's not a stand that they're selling. They're selling an experience.
Okay.
So a customer who needs an experience goes to Pokugara.
I see.
You get it? So whereas a property company is trying to sell a stand, a 300 square meter stand at 5,000, failing to get a customer. Pokugara is selling a 500 square meter stand at $45,000.
Right.
And they're selling like hotcakes in a volatile economy. Why? They've understood the needs of the customers. So for businesses to exist, to survive, they must understand the needs of the customers.
All right.
The dynamics around the customers. What is the customer looking for? How do I make my service, my product, my need or my want? How do I make this product a need to the customer?
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Look at, now there is so much to do about health and everything else. But look at the mushrooming of pharmacies. Why are pharmacies mushrooming everywhere?
Because they understood that people are always sick.
Zimbabweans, by nature of the volatility of the nation, of the economy, they are stressed.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot of issues. They have a lot of pain and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
So pharmacies, they tell you, if you get sick, we have the tablets for you. But is it tablets that you need?
No.
There's a coach who is seated and worried and complaining that, how do I make money? When the money is there around stress coaching.
Right.
So there is a need to coach people out of stress.
Okay.
But a coach is failing to realize that people need to be coached out of stress. Whereas a pharmacy knows that people are stressed. So they say, if you are stressed, we have a gym as well.
Right.
So they have a pharmacy and they have a gym. So that's the differentiation. So the businesses must stop looking at the environment, but they must start to think outside the box. They must stop looking at competition as well. Why most business they then fail in these VUCA economies, even anywhere globally? We focus on the wrong target.
Okay.
Stop focusing on the competition, start focusing on the customer, and ask yourself, what best can I do to offer value to my customer better than my competitors?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting. Coach, thank you so much. I'm still
Thank you,
trying to
Sister
process what you said. You've said a lot, but I think for today, let's end it here, and so that people can get to process. And whenever you feel like you need to get more of this, please tell us, where can we reach you? Where can we find you?
Okay, Coach James is a website, an active website, www.coachjamesinc.org.zw. I'm available on calls and WhatsApp on +263 718 084 910. Email james@coachjamesinc.org.zw.
If you fail or if you have missed, just reach up to me, and then I can direct you to where Coach James can be found. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And to our viewers, I hope you have heard that you need to register your organization. You need to register your idea. You need to patent your idea. And when you do that, now that you now have a company or an organization, know what your customers want, have a target audience, and know what your customers want. Coach James, thank you so much for giving us these interesting, breathtaking nuggets that every business needs to survive, and above all, have a growth strategy for your business and even for your life. But yeah, Coach, thank you so much. Please do come back again. We need to hear and to have more of these nuggets. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
And to you guys, that's a wrap. We are done.